the spirit of the North Coast. This is Redwood News at 11.
Good evening and thanks for choosing Redwood News. I'm John Kennedy O'Connor. New at 11, firefighters tonight save a home in Redway after a fire destroys 2 outbuildings and damaged a trailer. This video from the scene coming to us tonight from our friends at KMUD Community Radio. The fire broke out about 7 p.m. on Mill Road near the Redwoods Rural Health Centre. Firefighters from the Redway and Garberville volunteer fire departments, along with CAL FIRE crews, rushed to the scene. They stopped the flames from spreading to the home and into vegetation. No injuries occurred. The fire did fill the southern Humboldt skies with smoke for a time this evening. Now to the latest on the 6 Rivers lightning complex fires that continue burning tonight in eastern Humboldt. There's been word over the past hour or so from officials of an increase in fire activity tonight. As a result of what's being called a progression of fire behaviour, authorities say Humboldt Zone E32C has been combined with Zone E32, and the entire area is now under an extended evacuation warning. That means residents should be prepared to evacuate immediately if an order is given to do so. There are currently 5 zones in all that are under such warnings. Meantime, evacuation orders remain in effect tonight for zones E58 and E61 in Humboldt County. Tonight's announcement comes 24 hours after officials had allowed some other evacuees to return home due to favourable weather conditions at the time. Our Rachel Marty was on the front lines in Willow Creek earlier today.
The containment of the 6 Rivers lightning complex fire remains unchanged at 80%, with many evacuation orders being downgraded to warnings. But 2 evacuation orders in Zone 058 and 061A remain in effect, as that 20% of active fire is still a concern and priority for officials.
Most of our fire is going to be mostly considered up here, up in the horse range. And that's where we got most of our fire personnel working at the time. The other one would be along here, along Titlow area. So it's kind of like our open areas, there's a lot of fire action. We're trying to keep those out for safety purposes. We got several different checkpoints or road closure areas. One of them is going to be down by the Titlow Hill Road. We got a road closure, so only private residencies right now or workers going to check on their property. Another one that we have is going to be off Horse Titlow campground area, off the road up there, off Orleano's Willow Creek. So that one's also for operations purposes only, why we got that one closed. Same thing with Hawkins Bar Road.
Many of these road closures are not necessarily due to residential danger.
We're keeping those roads closed for people to not travel on them so we don't hamper the operation of the firefighters. So that's what we're seeing a lot on these country roads, the back roads that are still closed. It's not so much for the residences. A lot of those have been open, and we're so thankful for that. But a lot of those roads are just a lot of fire apparatus, and we don't want there to be any accidents. Just take it slow when you're on the roads. This whole area, we have an increase and decrease depending on what the fire does for personnel. Taking those corners, fire trucks are a little wider than normal cars, so you just want to be careful when you're taking those corners, slow down a little bit, look for that fire personnel.
2 community meetings to inform the public and share concerns will be held this weekend. One will be held 10 a.m. Saturday at the Hawkins Bar Fire Department, and another 3 p.m. Sunday at the Hoopa Fire Department. Reporting in Willow Creek, Rachel Marty, Redwood News.
And as Rachel just mentioned, but it is worth repeating, officials are holding a pair of community meetings this weekend to update residents. Tomorrow's meeting is at 10 a.m. at the Hawkins Bar Volunteer Fire Department. Sunday's meeting will take place at the Hoopa Fire Department at 3 p.m. Here's what fire commanders said during a briefing earlier today on their containment efforts.
So starting to the north in Branch 1, crews continued, had a successful night last night, continuing to burn along Lone Pine Ridge, extending fire further to the north, as well as a little bit to the south, making it to the corner of the 04 road, or the Grove Prairie Road there. Plan is today is to turn the corner and start heading south, staying ahead of this fire activity that we're seeing in the just across Grove Prairie Creek there. So extending that burning operation, staying ahead of the main fire as it wants to come kind of the southeast on us. getting out ahead. Crews continue to prep out in front of that burn show, making really good progress on the 04 road. Things are looking really good. Coming back around the rest of the Campbell fire, everything still remains really quiet, looking really good. Crews continue to patrol and mop up in there. And then some chipping operations behind Trinity Village as well, just cleaning up some of those associated fuels. Down here, branch 10 on the Ammon fire, everything's still looking really good. We did have one little spot off the southeast corner yesterday. Crews were on it quickly, mopped it up, got resources in there, a lot of blowdown, so continuing to mop up, really secure that. Everything else around on Madden Creek and the horseshoe here, continuing to monitor, mop up as we're able, and patrol, keeping our eyes on the ball, making sure no more surprises are going to come out of the Ammon. Looking really good. Contingency is continuing up into Hoopa as well, coming down to what's called the bike trail. Got dozers pushing up in there, giving us a little bit more buffer in case we're not able to hold our primary contingency lines to the north. And they're plugging away, making really good progress as well.
Now to the latest on air quality being impacted by smoke from the Six Rivers fires. Winds tomorrow will be westerly, so smoke should decrease along the lower portions of the Trinity River. Air quality remains in the unhealthy range around Willow Creek, but other areas are experiencing more moderate air quality. New at 11, the Del Norte County Sheriff says tonight that his deputies continue to investigate an August 18th shooting death on Maiden Lane. But the Sheriff isn't ready yet to release any further information about the homicide. However, he is putting out a public call for help in the case. The Sheriff asks anyone with information that could lead to an arrest to contact the Sheriff's office. A 55-year-old man has been arrested after allegedly leading police and Sheriff's deputies on a crazy chase through a Eureka earlier this morning. Mark Stephen Franks is jailed on charges of assault and resisting arrest. Authorities say it all started when Franks used his car to block the entrance to the parking lot at the Sheriff's office. When deputies tried to detain him, he sped away. Deputies and Eureka officers pursued him. The chase ended when Franks' car crashed into 4 law enforcement vehicles near the intersection of Broadway and West Clark Streets. One deputy suffered minor injuries in the incident. Federal regulators today issued their final environmental impact report for the removal of dams along the Klamath River. That report comes a month sooner than expected, which means dam removal could now begin early next year. Regulators say any adverse short-term environmental effects would be outweighed by the long-term benefits of dam removal. It's now expected that the project will gain full approval by Christmas time. New at 11, the City of Arcata late today making announcements about some big developments for several park and trail projects. Construction on the final leg of the 5-mile-long Arcata Ridge Trail will begin at the end of the month. Meantime, construction is now underway for Phase 2 of the Shea Park Improvement Project, which will include what the city says is Ninja Warrior-style fitness equipment. And finally, the city has just received an $800,000 state grant for enhancing Carlson Park in the Valley West neighbourhood. A big celebration took place in Ferndale today, being led by celebrity chef and town native Guy Fieri. Ferndale marked the 100th anniversary of the town clock along historic Main Street. It was first installed back in 1922 and has survived being struck down multiple times by vehicles, as well as instances of theft and vandalism. Mr. Fieri talked about the importance of the clock to the community.
This is a great day. I never knew that the clock, I didn't know how the clock worked. My dad, you guys, most of you know my dad, Jim, and he gave me, of course, when you ask your dad a question about the clock, he gives, that was a 4-hour speech. But I didn't know what had happened. I didn't know what took place, and I love hearing the history about the clock. I mean, it's such an important part to us. We always knew to keep time from it. I knew I was late all the time when I would look at the clock. I'm supposed to be home at 5. And you could always tell from the clock, and I thought every town had a clock. You know, and then you see movies like Back to the Future, and you think about the clock and Save the Clock. And only in Ferndale, you know, only in Ferndale do you get to see something like this become such a key part and then resurrected and supported. And that's what makes the town so special. And I'm so honored to be from this town. I mean, I bring all my friends, my kids. We come here. We still have our house. This is this is a great experience for anybody that comes to this angelic. I mean, there's nothing like this in the whole world. And so we've tried to come back and make an impact and support, just as I was supported and raised in this town. I try to make sure that I come back and give that. And there's for those that have only been here for a few years and those that have been here many generations. Everybody supports you when you come here. They love you, they hug you, you get involved, and you can help, and this is what makes it happen. Think 1,400 people, a little less than 1,500 people, and look at the things we pull off. Look at the sports programs we have. Look at the art programs we support. Look at the scholarships. Look at the businesses. Look at all these things that are taking place, and rebuilding and preserving. I mean, look at these buildings. This is my son Hunter over here, and he's in charge of a couple buildings that we have, and he's learning what it's going to take to paint a Victorian front on the meat company. He's like, Dad, I'm going to have to come down here myself and do this. I don't know about that, son, but it's really awesome, and it's so great to see the clock back and everybody's participation. And I don't know who these two guys are that came upon and made this happen, but you're great people, and you can just consider you your extended members of the Ferndale family. So thank you very much. Appreciate being here.
Also drawing crowds in Ferndale is the Humboldt County Fair. It will be wrapping up its 126th edition at the fairgrounds this weekend after 10 days of fun. It included events hosted by Guy Fieri, such as a chili cook-off and a first responders lunch. Here's a great view looking out over the Midway today, courtesy of Sky Blue Photography. Tomorrow is Ladies' Hat Day at the fair, which has become an annual highlight and will share the afternoon with horse racing. Elsewhere, a US Navy veteran is being honoured as this month's Humboldt Hero. David Lindstrom served in the Navy during the Korean War. He was recognised this afternoon during a ceremony in front of the State Farm office in the 500 block of 7th Street in Eureka. Mr. Lindstrom graduated from Eureka High and attended Humboldt State College before joining the Navy when the Korean War broke out. He had learned to fly at age 14, so he was a natural choice for the Navy's aviation division. Perhaps the most exciting time for Mr. Lindstrom was when he got shot off a 590-foot naval carrier by a catapult. New at 11, the Northern California Community Blood Bank here in Eureka is hoping you'll help save lives and at the same time break a world record. You can do that by donating blood tomorrow. The local blood bank is participating in a global effort encouraging people to give blood on Saturday. It's aimed at breaking the world record for most blood donations in a single day. The effort is being called the Global Blood Heroes Day campaign. The local blood bank is located at 2524 Harrison Avenue here in Eureka, and it will be open tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. for donors. And we'll be right back. A new report out today is putting the housing shortage in the Eureka and Arcata areas into new perspective. The report shows over the past decade that Eureka and Arcata have lagged in housing growth compared to the rest of the nation. The national increase in housing over the past decade was 6.5%, but during that same 10-year period, the growth in new housing units for the Eureka-Arcata metro area was just 3.5%. There's more work to do to bring down inflation. That was the message delivered today by the chairman of the Federal Reserve. Our Gloria Pazmino explains the US economy is likely to see slow growth and higher interest rates going forward.
The economic pain is likely to continue. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell delivered the keynote speech at the annual Jackson Hole Economic Symposium Friday, sending a clear message that the central bank's continued focus is to tame rampant inflation.
Our responsibility to deliver price stability is unconditional.
Powell said reducing inflation will not come easy. A period of slower growth is likely awaiting the U.S. economy.
While higher interest rates, slower growth, and softer labor market conditions will bring down inflation, they will also bring some pain to households and businesses.
Despite Powell's warning, the Fed's preferred measure of inflation, known as the Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index, showed that price increases slowed in July. It's all key to how Americans are perceiving the current economic climate.
The idea is that if people believe prices are going to go up, that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so you want to nip that in the bud and convince the public, convince markets, convince consumers, convince businesses that, no, don't worry, we have it under control.
Wall Street was quick to react. Major indices dropped after Powell hinted at the likelihood of sustained periods of higher interest rates.
These are the unfortunate costs of reducing inflation, but a failure to restore price stability would mean far greater pain.
Gloria Pazmino, Redwood News.
And during this short break, I'll be hot-footing it over to the weather wall for the weekend weather outlook. That's when we come back. But first, let's take a look at the almanac. Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to our weekend weather outlook. Yes, I'm missing Dan too. Let's start by taking a look at the infrared and satellite forecast through the weekend. It's really not that much different to the picture from today. You can see that area of low pressure over Oregon and Washington has now moved out, and there's high pressure now over the northwest. And with the areas of high pressure out over the ocean, that is keeping our area cloudy but warm. These pressure areas are going to go on keeping our area generally dry, but over the weekend it will help clear out the cloudy weather from the coast, and we should see some sunshine on Sunday, fingers crossed. Although tonight and early Saturday there could be some very light drizzle at the coast, we can look forward to perhaps a brighter weekend. The fronts here are going to bring gusty winds to the coast caused by that high pressure over the water. It will be warm again Saturday, warmer than today, but not much chance of sunshine, as I was saying, until Sunday, when hopefully we'll see the sun bursting through after this recent gloom. Now, looking at the Six Rivers fire area and the air quality, the situation has improved considerably. Willow Creek does remain hazardous, but the other areas affected by the fire are now showing as moderate to good. Now, tonight's low temperatures are going to be much the same as they've been each night for the last few weeks. Foggy at the coast with low temps, getting warmer as we get away further from the coast. The coolest spot will be 53 in Eureka and Redway, 55 in Trinidad, Klamath, and 56 in Fortuna, 56 in Neeland, 57 in Crescent City, and 59 in Willow Creek. Gosh, this is almost what I've been saying every night this week. And that will be the warmest spot tonight. Now, the high temperatures, looking ahead to Saturday, it will warm back up again after the overnight lows and will be much the same temperature as today, but we won't see much sunshine from behind the clouds, as again it's going to be the morning and midday fog hangs around probably for the entire day at the coast. 66 degrees in Eureka, 65 in Ferndale, where the county fair continues this weekend. A chilly 62 in Cape Town, 67 in Arcata, 68 in Rio Dale, 69 in Neeland, and then warming up inland, 73 in Blue Lake, and then a huge leap to 97 degrees in Willow Creek. And the haze there is going to be clearing out, but it is instead going to be becoming foggy. Now, moving up the coast, again, not really much different in the terms of the heat. Temperatures will start at 65 in Crescent City, 67 in Oryx, 68 in McKinleyville, 70 in Trinidad, 71 in Klamath, 72 in Brooklyn. So nice and warm in those spots, but foggy and cloudy at the coast, at least initially, and then a big jump up to 82 degrees in Gasquet. Further east in Orleans and Hooper, we will see temperatures well up into the high 80s and low 90s, where again the hazy weather will be replaced by some fog. Now, look at the whole of Northern California. It's going to remain very hot inland indeed, but comparatively cooler than today. Redding, the hottest spot at 96, high 80s in Sacramento and Stockton, and many places will be well into the 80s. Cooling down a bit in the Bay Area. It's been nice and warm there lately, but dropping to 67, and as we move further back up the 101 corridor, heating up again, 80 in Santa Rosa, and then 92 in Ukiah. Further to our north, temperatures falling from the last couple of days, dropping down to 85. They have been in the hundreds, so some relief in that area from the recent heat. Now, back here in Humboldt County, our 7-day forecast is fairly consistent at the coast. Nighttime lows ranging from 54, 55 to 57 for the next few nights, and daytime highs a little bit warmer than we've seen today and this week. 66, oh, I'm standing in the way, 66 and foggy Saturday, 68 Sunday, when I'm hoping the sun is going to make an appearance. But as the fog and marine clouds will be hanging around, we'll see similar temperatures and conditions into early next week. For the marine forecast, there are no alerts for the inner waters, where the wind will be about 5 to 15 knots out of the northwest. But out here on the ocean, there will be stronger winds, so a small craft advisory is in place again over the weekend with expected 6 to 7 foot waves. Away from the coast, still very warm, a cooler Saturday at 91 compared with today, but then picking up again into the high 90s after the weekend. Then fog is expected inland this weekend, replacing the haze that's been troublesome of late, and that is helping clear that smoky air quality out. The nighttime temperatures also ranging from 55 to 56 over the weekend, back up to 57, 58 in the coming days, and that inland fog is going to help with that air quality, but some warnings do remain, particularly around Willow Creek. That's all from the weather. I'll jump back into the anchor chair now, and Maxwell Glenn's here with the sports after this short break. The federal court record showing why the FBI searched former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago property. Our Samantha Manning dug through the details contained in that affidavit that was released just today.
It's a 38-page affidavit, but you can see there are a lot of redactions throughout it. Those are all these black lines, and that's because of sensitive information. But it does tell us why the search was carried out. It stems from the discovery of classified records being kept in an unauthorized place in Mar-a-Lago. The newly released affidavit reveals the investigation started in February after 15 boxes of records were handed over to the National Archives by reps of former President Donald Trump. It turned out 14 of those boxes contained classified documents, including information about national security. Investigators wrote, quote, "Of most significant concern was that highly classified records were unfolded, intermixed with other records."
It's frightening. I mean, you're putting it's not an exaggeration to say that you could be potentially putting human lives in danger.
I spoke with Lee White from the National Coalition for History. He explains that presidents are clearly briefed on the Presidential Records Act and the proper way to handle these records. White weighed in on the former president's argument that he already declassified some of the records in question.
Yes, the president has the authority to declassify documents, but there has to be a paper trail left behind. You just don't wave a magic wand over it and say, "I hereby declassify you."
Former President Trump is firing back on his social media site Truth Social, calling it a, quote, "witch hunt." The White House, meantime, says it's leaving the investigation in the hands of law enforcement.
This is an independent investigation that the Department of Justice is leading.
Typically, an affidavit is only released if charges have been filed, but this is a different situation since there is so much public interest. In this case, we still don't know if charges will be filed. In Washington, Samantha Manning, Redwood News.
And we'll be right back after this short break. Please stay with us. And thanks so much for joining us for Redwood News Live at 11. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. If you're going to the Humboldt State Fair, enjoy yourself. Humboldt County Fair, enjoy yourself. Or the SOAR event, I'm sure you'll have a great time. Maxwell's going to be in the chair over the weekend. I'll be back on Monday. We'll look forward to seeing you then. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye-bye.